How's it, everyone? Welcome back to episode 12 of our Portugal campaign. Last episode was actually a bit mental. We had a war against Castile, which we managed to just about squeak out of. Paid them a lot of money, but managed to get out without conceding any territory. And then it was a desperate fight for an alliance, which we just about managed to get, basically through bribing England towards the end. Hopefully this episode will be a bit more focused on expansion, economic and colonial. Let's get into it. Okay, so what we've done is we've moved two of the new galleys we've built, Lisboa and Beatrice, to Madeira just to start improving some of the maritime presence. Doesn't do it by much, but it's something. And we've also got three here in the Azores, also increasing maritime presence. Okay, the treaty's about to expire. It's time to see if bad things will happen to us. Fortunately, we now finally have a fully stocked army regiment of 1,000 men, which is not going to be enough to do anything. But we've just got to hope that England can hold its own if they do come at us, and pray to God that we'll be alright. Okay, we're going to flip Joao onto pushing defensive. I'm not sure how much of a big impact it will make, but I think having a defensive focus is going to be better for us, not least in terms of the fort maintenance, but also just because our forts will be stronger in defense, so we could hold off Castile for longer. Our son has turned 16. We might put him to work soon. And we've researched man-at-arms, so that's really good. So let's pick something else. It's a tough call, but I think I'm going to go for the gunsmith, because in terms of the production methods, we can actually produce them. We have tin, we have copper, and we have a lot of all of these goods. So I think it might be quite a strong industry for us. Dedicated to the production and maintenance of firearms, the gunsmith produces various quality firearms as well as related components such as barrels, locks, and triggers. And now that we've somewhat alleviated the imminent threat of Castile, I'm still not at full ease, but I think okay, for now we can sort of rest easy. We can spend a bit of our money to build things that we need. I've had a look and I've figured out what we're going to do. First things first is that, again, we do not have enough food in Extremadura, so the first thing is to increase the fish yet again in Lisbon. Then the next thing, if we look at the budget, we can see that we're spending a lot of money on our libraries. Again, books are expensive, and also our armories now are quite expensive because firearms and weaponry are expensive. Now we can't build firearms just yet, but we can build weaponry. So we will build a weaponsmith in Lisbon, and we'll build a scriptorium in Porto. In fact, we'll do two. We'll do another one in Coimbra as well. Okay, so it does look like Castile are going for a colonial charter, but interestingly enough, it's here in the desert of Africa, so maybe they've left the Canaries alone? Question mark. Next issue I can see is we don't have enough sailors because we built so many bloody ships, so we need to build something that will allow us to get some sailors. So we'll go for a wharf. I had a look and we could build a dock, which is much more impactful, but we don't have the tech, so we'll build a wharf here in Viana, and that will help us with our trade capacity, but also give us one extra monthly sailor. The nobility are happy with us, and they have given us some money and some estate satisfaction. They're really sorting us out, to be honest. We've had an event, Portuguese burghers in Bruges. The Portuguese burghers have become frequent visitors in Bruges, prompting the governors to grant them extra privileges. This has turned the city into one of our primary partners in Northern Europe. As such, many within the burghers are requesting that we construct a new trade office in Bruges. So we'll happily do that. It's only 7 ducats. Alternatively, we could decrease the cost of our rural buildings, which is basically pointless. So we'll do that. Build up the level of Carpenter's Guild in Santarém, and we'll also build something in Lisbon. Weaponsmith. We'll build 2 levels of weapons. Oh, Philippe d'Artois is dead. The man, the myth, the legend, the great explorer. He died of a hunting accident. We'll put our son in, Dinis. Now that we've freed up some of our diplomatic capacity because we're not schmoozing England and France, we can probably look to marry off some of our kids. So, who would be a good fit? I'm tempted to marry off Dinis first, and maybe Brittany? Brittany a vassal of France? They are. So this isn't a bad shout, because it's very unlikely Brittany will be attacked by anyone other than other tributaries of France, and they've got a sizable army. They're 10,000 men, so it's not too bad. So it'd be good to get an alliance with them, perhaps. Bonne d'Artois. Okay, she's not fantastic, but they're the same age. We may as well do it. So, royal marriage between Dinis and Bonne. And we'll also start sending people to Cape Verde. We'll send a colonial charter off to colonize. Looking at our market food balance, we can see we're a little bit light on a stockpile. Now I think this directly impacts population growth, so the more food you have in surplus, the higher your population will grow, or the quicker your population will grow. So one of the ways to tackle that is to build some granaries. So we're going to build a couple granaries, try and increase our stockpile. So we'll do one in Lisbon, one in Evora because it's quite cheap, and one in Porto. Okay, and I've had a look around all of the different options for Leonor. There isn't anyone particularly good except for Tommaso. Now he appears to be the ruler of Lorraine, he's the Duke of Lorraine, so I don't think this will bring him over to us, but we get quite a healthy amount of prestige, so I think it's okay to do that marriage, just for the prestige bonus. So yeah, she's gone over there. And we've got the gunsmith, so now we can start actually producing weaponry, which is very cool indeed. Okay, we're going to build it in Coimbra because there's a better production efficiency, so we get slightly less money, but because lumber and iron are in the province, it's a better overall production efficiency. So hopefully over time, with the control going up eventually, it'll be better value. We've had a petition for redress. Some of the local members of nobility in Elvas have so upset and mistreated their subjects that a delegation of the commoners has come before King Afonso to ask for redress. Agreeing to this would be popular with the commoners, but they would be seen by the nobility as an infringement on their authority. Unfortunately, I think we have to side with the nobility again, because they are a more important estate at the moment. In terms of research, we've gone back for permanent cabinet, really because I wanted to see whether it carried over the amount of research progress we had. Bad news, it didn't. I can only hope that by switching over to a different research, it carried the advance to that technology. But we'll go for permanent cabinet now, and then we'll go for stimulate rural areas, which is a Portugal-specific tech. Many places across our country, mainly in rural and remote regions, are becoming depopulated, with fields, forests and mines falling into disuse. By reforming relevant aspects of our legal system, we will encourage people to remain in the countryside and restore its productivity. So I don't think it's particularly accurate in the sense that it's only rural areas, it's actually just raw materials output. So all goods in a country, so it's all the RGOs. But just an extra 10% across the board with all of the RGOs we produce is actually quite big, I think. It will help improve our economy quite substantially. I'm also going to build a granary here in, what province is this? Baixo Alentejo, because as you can see the food stockpile is really high. In fact, it's one of the highest of our country, and building a extra granary here will increase the province stockpile, which can then feed through to the rest of the market. So we'll build a granary here in Beja. It will get Dinis stabilizing the country as well, 0.3 per month. So that's not too bad. And food is still an issue in Extremadura, so we'll build 2 more levels here and 1 level in Setúbal. So they're going to be eating a lot of fish over the next few months. Books are still really expensive, so yet again we're going to build a couple more scriptoriums. So we're already building stuff in Lisbon, so this time we won't do Lisbon. We will do Coimbra and Porto. Okay, Felipe de Rajoy loses fortune. Now, I think this was the artist that we got in that Parliament event not too long ago. After a series of poor investments, Felipe de Rajoy has been left penniless. As a member of our court, he has sent to us a desperate plea that we give him some financial assistance to help him back onto his feet, lest he ends up living out his days on the streets. So, we could say private fortunes are not our concern. We can give him 150 gold. We're not going to do that. See you later, mate. You're off to the common folk. I've gone to do the alliance with Brittany, and it looks like we are unable to do it. Probably because they are a vassal of France, so that's a shame. And we've completed the high era of Portugal because we've got a lot of stability. So this is the final task. So now we get extra prosperity, extra tax. So that's awesome. We can pick another mission. Progress in literacy is really, really good. But because we get institution growth, I'm going to wait and time it until we're near enough the next era so that we can get better growth of the institutions once they spawn. So we'll go for estate cooperation, which gives 5% pop satisfaction to all of the estates. So that's pretty good. And who should we go for? Let's go for the nobility. So we've started the task. It will last for a year. In the meantime, we lose 10% crown power and 1 stability investment. So it is actually really good for our stability. We have another parliament issue. Usually, I would go for promote urbanization and Tamar would become a town. But I am actually going to go for increased naval infrastructure just because this is an enormous amount of development and I think it is better for our needs at the time. So we'll go for that. We've had the Life in Lisboa event again. What can we do? I think we'll go for the cost to try and keep this as high as possible. I hate spending money on stuff like that though. We've had the Guild Before Country event. I think we've read this before. Basically, in this case, our son, Joao, has been putting the crown before the crown. I'm not really sure how that works, but okay. So we could kill him, or we could defend him. Now, I don't think we have another son. We do, we've got Dinis, but I don't think he's that inept. So in this case, we'll probably just defuse the situation. We've got a bit of stability to hand, being a bit naughty. I've also had enough of Castile's nonsense. So this might be a bad decision, but I'm going to remove Tlemcen as a rival. And we're going to set Castile as our rival in 5 years' time. I didn't know we couldn't do it immediately, but we'll do that in a couple of years' time. That's annoying because it actually causes massive debuffs in the meantime, but okay. Oh, no, it just allowed us to do it. Maybe it was trying to suggest Tlemcen again. So Castile is our rival. I know it's probably against our long-term interests, but let's be honest, they actually are our rival. They're the only ones that are actually trying to hamstring us and cause us issues. So let's declare to the world who they really are. And our daughter has turned 16. Gosh, we've had quite a few events here. We've had a petition for decentralization again. We'll go for the same thing. We've got a court session going on, so even though it will annoy the nobility, they will recover. And also, our second cousin has passed away due to a sudden illness. Okay, I think we found the person we want to marry. Ethel Friedrich von Hohenzollern. Jeez, that's a mouthful. Hopefully that brings him over, but he's got quite good stats, and they're around the same age, so let's go. They're now legally married, and this will benefit both nations. Now, do we have him in our court? It does look like we can appoint him, so that's good. So he's quite tasty. So once we get this extra cabinet seat, we'll stick him in rather than replacing someone, because it's not too far away. Okay, food production slightly low on the province of, what is this, Ribatejo. So we'll increase the legumes in Santarém. That's the max we can do. Everything else isn't food, so they'll have to just make do. Okay, and we've got 250 sailors, so let's get out and explore the Canaries. Send them out from Madeira. And we will send Jehan, Philippe's son. Okay, we'll build another market village in Madeira. Maybe also a fishing village as well. And we've got the permanent cabinet, so we can now appoint, I forget his name already, Ethel Friedrich. He's very good, so what can we get him doing? Possibly control. Let's do control in Ribatejo. And we'll just move him around to different areas for now, and then we will find him something more permanent to do soon. Okay, we're going to probably have to start looking at giving them something to pass this bloody issue. So how far are we? 36%, so we need at least 14%. Annoyingly, it's not quite enough for either of them. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer, because this increases, I think. Not going to increase enough, though. Oh, fantastic. So, whilst we were trying to decide whether to pick something, we've been given something that will give us 25 support. So we'll go for accept. Beja can have a, what's it called, a seat in the Cortes Generales. Fantastic. And the session has passed. Fantastic news. Okay, we'll build another gunsmith in Coimbra, and then in order to maintain the production efficiency bonus, we also need to increase the copper we have in, I don't even know what this province is called, Mirtola. We don't have enough money. We do now. Copper in Mirtola, and then we'll also need to increase the, I think it's the iron as well soon. Copper, tin, and tools. And then also iron and saltpeter. Okay, Etel Friedrich von Hohenzollern has approached King Afonso with a calculated proposition. Generous donation to the nobility estate, he argues, would create the conditions necessary to expand his role within the cabinet. This proposal is as much about advancing his personal standing as it is about tightening the bonds between our kingdom and the estates. So we could give 200 ducats, which is quite a lot. But he gets efficient administrator, which is just forever as well. We're probably going to do it. He's very young, and it can last for forever. And then the estate may approach us again in a few months. I think we'll do it now. 25% efficiency is fantastic. So let's just do that. We'll take a loan out to cover the balance and pay it off shortly. And we've granted privileges, so the task is complete. Looks like the next one is complete as well. So we've got that as well. Lisbon gains 0.1% monthly development. That's fantastic. Oh no, that's just us in general. And Lisbon gains 0.25. Oh my gosh, too much is happening. We're off to the Canaries, and the commoners are getting uppity. Our efforts to keep the commoners in their place has been somewhat too successful. Blah blah blah, we've read this before. So we could push them towards serfdom, that will annoy them, or we could annoy the nobility. We can't really annoy the nobility, so we will piss off the commoners a little bit. So our monthly budget's probably going to take a bit of a hit now that we're exploring. It's only going to take 3 years though, which is cool, but it's not going to be that bad. Okay, we'll get rid of our first of 2 debts. I don't really think we need to appoint a commander here, but to get rid of the pop-up, let's just appoint someone. So Sancho can go here, and Per Durgel can go here. No, he's too young. Let's go for Simon de Vitre. I should just get rid of that. Didn't cost any money, so... Okay, we're going to build a rural smelter in Feira because it improves the iron output, and we've obviously got iron there in the province. Okay, and we've had a consort of the people. It has become clear to us that consort Elizabeth de Barcelona is a woman with a heart of gold. Her Royal Highness always does her best to please her husband and treats her friends with unparalleled kindness. During a recent trip to Avis, Consort Elizabeth saw the suffering of its poorest commoners with her own eyes. Ever since, she has been drafting a plan to aid her most destitute subjects. In order to make these ideas into reality, however, Consort Elizabeth needs some funds from the nation's treasury. So we could get 20% satisfaction or lose a bit of legitimacy. Satisfaction is actually woeful in our whole country, to be honest. God, look at the satisfaction difference. Uh-oh. Okay, so we need to actually look at this and try and focus on this a little bit. I have been neglecting it somewhat, so maybe we do just support her goals. Okay, we'll do it. Okay, we'll build 2 forest villages. No, 1, sorry, in Torres Novas. Probably going to keep this rural the whole time because it's got a massive amount of lumber. and our population is dying without wild game, basically. Okay, and we've had stimulate rural areas, so raw materials output increased by 10%. Hopefully that will be quite good for us. We need to pick a new research now. Okay, what we're going to go for is favourable social mobility, because you can see here RGO is missing employees. We've got plenty of places where there's not enough workers because they're too dumb to be educated enough, so we're going to go for this really. The dream of most peasants to escape poverty and climb the social ladder is a reality within our society. By rewarding hard work, meticulousness, and the proper embodiment of our ideals, we will never have a shortage of capable and influential people. Fortification neglected. Our policy of favouring the offensive attitude is leading to our fortifications being neglected. Oh god. No, we cannot do that. So we will lose army tradition for the forts to become strong, because we can't have a lack of fort defence with Castile on our heels. Mali requests access to guns. So this looks like a historical event. Curious news has reached our court, as the merchants of Mali, sent by their Mansa himself, makes us an offer to sell our firearms as well as our weapons expertise to him. While granting them access to our arsenal might give us a grateful ally in Western Africa, it could threaten our outstanding business opportunities with Mali. There is no benefit to us to sell guns to them, so they lose 50 opinion, although we moved by 33 towards traditional economy. That's not what we're going to do. Or we could say, this might be a profitable business. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. This is a profitable business. We get good relations with a nation that might be useful for us in combating Spain's colonial charters. They also give us an enormous amount of money, and it pushes us towards capital economy. So hell yeah, let's do it. Oh, and the Hussite wars have popped. So I don't think this is going to be particularly involving us, but good to know about it. Basically a new branch of the Catholic faith has spawned. Okay, I didn't notice I hadn't built this yet, but let's build the Royal Garden in Lisbon. Gives us a bit of extra prestige, which will help to stem the tide. And it's just a good building overall. Okay, with our newfound rival, we're obviously going to start building a spy network. It provides loads of covert actions we can do, but also it gives you a bonus to sieging opposing provinces and so on. So hopefully I don't have to go to war with them again, but if I do and I've got a sizable spy network, I should be able to capture the castle provinces a bit easier. We have quite a meaty nobility problem. Yeah. Oh, it's only... No, it's the whole place. I thought it was just here, but it's this whole place. Okay, we're gonna have to stop that. We're gonna have to stop that quite urgently. Crack down on rebels, we'll crack down on the nobility. Gosh, it doesn't actually do that much. It's just reduced it by 0.5%. I think, to be fair, once the satisfaction goes up, this will start to disappear, but let's just slow it down for a little while, and hopefully we don't have a rebellion on our hands. It will upgrade our infantry, just because I actually want to see what it makes. Okay, so it makes men-at-arms. So we'll upgrade both of them, and that will modernize our infantry a little bit. I want to get one more so we have one full front, at least. Okay, so winter is here, and it looks like some of our provinces are actually struggling to have enough food, particularly Bela Litoral. So looking perhaps on the province view is a bit easier. If I click on here, we can have a look through and see that a lot of our provinces aren't producing enough food, namely the urban locations. So I'm going to improve the food here in João de Sousa. We've got livestock there, so we're going to improve it by 1. And that should hopefully help to support that. We might need to get another level in a bit, but for now that's okay. Also, further compounding on our lumber, we're going to build a sawmill in Torres Novas. Gives 20% lumber output, so that will give us better bang for our buck in this province. Oh God, we've had the incompetent diplomacy event again. It's less of a big issue this time, because last time we were obviously desperately trying to find an alliance, but it's still not so good. We lose a lot of diplo reputation, and monthly diplomats, don't really know why, but he is just terrible at diplomacy. He's also got another ruler trait. He's a sinner. He's widely regarded as a sinner. Personal shortcomings in the leadership of our country have turned the religious establishment against us. Afonso, you naughty boy. Okay, it looks like building up the iron RGO in Feyre will be very profitable, especially because we have this rural smelter. Probably want to get one in Odemira as well, to be honest. So we'll do that. 29 ducats, so not too expensive. And we've got favourable social mobility, so this will help our population to promote quicker, so that's really good. I think we're going to go for counting houses. They give extra crown power in the location, so we can build them in some of our urban places, and that will help to increase our monthly income. Counting house is an office which keeps track of the financial books of the businesses of the town. Appointments and correspondences related to businesses related to payments are handled as well. Very strange way of explaining that. So we'll research that, and then we'll try and build a few in some of our other locations. After that upgrade of troops, we're actually losing manpower again, so we're going to need to build a couple armories. We'll build 2. One in Lisbon, one in Vienna. Why not? We've discovered the Canary Islands, so let's see. Moment of truth. Scary times. Have they got a colonial charter? They don't. What are they playing at? Okay, well, let's try and get these as soon as we've done Cape Verde, I think. Oh, it looks like we've actually got our first little colony here as well. I didn't notice that. So we'll build a settlement here, start getting some people out to São Nicolau. I have no idea why Castile have decided to go for a... Where is it that they're going for? They're going for colonial charters here in the interior. Doesn't make any sense. These two places. In the dry, arid desert of the Sahara, they're trying to set up camp. Makes no sense. Oh my gosh, there's dyes here in this island here, Aguirre. So this is a fantastic resource to try and get as well. More dyes here. Okay, so it's fish and dyes, but it's actually a really good location to colonize, so we're definitely going to go for that. The king's reputation has been tarnished because he's known as a ruthless warmonger. We'll we'll embrace the reputation. I don't really want to lose the stability. I'm trying to build it up because ideally I'd like to use this for something. I'm not sure what yet, but I know it's a really important resource. We'll keep improving relations with the French. Ideally we can try and get a relationship with them or an alliance with them. It will just really make me feel secure with this big yellow blob on our border. Okay, we'll keep expanding on the weapons industry, so we'll build up the maximum level in Coimbra. And I also want to build a few in Porto, so we'll build 1 in Porto. We'll also build up a marketplace in Vienna. Once this armory completes, we'll build another marketplace. Interestingly, looking at the Canaries, there are actually 5,000 Guanche people there. This is the first of the islands, I think, that actually has a native population. So, not really sure how that's going to pan out. I'm sure they're not going to be happy with us running around telling them what to do. But interesting, nonetheless. Dinis finished doing whatever the hell he was doing, I forget. So we will get him appeasing the nobility just to help boost their recovery effort, get them happy again. Looks like they are actually really happy. Look at that. 57, so we can tax them loads more. Very nice. Okay, let's create a colonial charter. Off we go to the Canaries. Cool, we've got the counting house. So we can't build it just yet because I've spent all my money on stupid things. But we should be able to build it pretty soon. 233. Okay, there's a bunch of really good stuff to research now, given that we are going for a spy network in Castile, and how I hate them. I'm going to go for spy networks to try and increase the speed of spy network construction. Espionage has been a valuable tool for empires since ancient times. Spycraft allows us to become better informed about both internal and external threats, and to monitor the activities of potentially dangerous states and actors. The Mongols were masters of this art, using espionage to prepare for and secure the success of their military campaigns. Okay, we'll build a settlement in Santiago. I actually looked up what causes a settlement to disappear, and for those who don't know, once you're at more than 5% of the total population, then the settlement will disappear. So in this case, it would be what, 2,500 people. So once we're at more than 2,500 people, the settlement disappears. Okay, Parliament's rolled around again, and the two options I think that are best to go for are both burgher options. And I think we will go for promote member of the burghers, because we don't have that many skilled members who can go into our cabinet and so on. And this is a good opportunity to get it. Plus, in the meantime, we can also tax the hell out of them, because they'll be really happy with us. Can't tax them anymore. Maybe that was a misstep. I don't know. Porto Alegre have changed their stance and have got annoyed at us, so we've lost 5 support, so this might not pass. I don't know if I can be bothered to commit loads of resource to pushing it. Might go for this, support for capital economy, just because we want to do that, obviously. That gets us to 47, see where we end up. It's so strange, we could actually declare war on the Guanche people as well. They're like a whole nation and everything, so don't really get how we're just rocking up in our ships and building tents and settlements on their land. I don't really get how that's working, but anyway, we're doing it. Okay, João de Cousset changes stance, +5 prestige, amazing, and +5 support. That gets us there. Fantastic. Alright, so we've agreed the Parliament. Fantastic. England have asked for money. I think we'll have to accept. I'm worried about losing the alliance, so I think we'll have to accept in this case. Might allow us to curry favours, though. No. They do not trust us enough, so let's profess trust. And then we might be able to curry favours. Oh god, okay, we've had robber barons. The burghers are concerned with the great influence of the nobility in our state. They claim that many lower members of the nobility are disregarding the peace and laws of the land, using their positions of power and the lands that they hold to impose unreasonable tolls and taxes for passing traders. Some are even said to attack and waylay merchants, robbing or extorting them. Representatives of the Portuguese burghers now claim that the economic development of our country is held back by these excesses. The nobility, on the other hand, argue that they are simply charging reasonable fees for the use of their roads and property. Some among them are willing to give the state a share of the money that they take. Okay, so it's quite a long precursor to just choosing whether we want to favour the nobility or favour the burghers. The nobility we will favour in this particular case, just because the burghers are so happy with us at the moment. Alright, it looks like all 5 of these RGOs are decent, so we will do 3, 4, 5. That 5? I think that was 4. So we've done 4. I think it improved the ones that I wanted it to do. I hope so anyway. The horses, the wine, the iron. Our generals are concerned that we're focusing on the navy. Well, we are. The fleet it is, damn them. Okay, because of that event, we've now pushed to more than 50 naval focus. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap this feudal nobility government reform. It's going to cost 20 stability, but I do think it's worth it. And we're going to get, where is it gone? Harbour administration, which gives less proximity through ports. All coastal towns get 10% monthly development growth. That's huge. We get a naval governor, which I don't think will become relevant for a little while, but we'll go for that. Port facilities must be officially managed to support maritime trade and naval operations. Corruption will be reduced and commerce will thrive under structured supervision. Because we gave England some money, we can now curry favours with them, which we will do. Okay, same thing as before with our colonies in Cape Verde. The settlement cannot work because we don't have market access, so we'll build a market village in Santiago, and I think we'll need to do one in Sant Nicolau as well. This isn't a bad shout as well because they're actually part of the Niani market, and you see it's actually a massive market. They've got loads of jewellery, which would be good for us, and they don't have very much furniture. So this could be potentially a good place to start trading with from our market. We've got spy networks, so 10% spy network construction, that's great. Got a new tech to pick now as well. Okay, so I think we'll go for sovereignty first, just for the extra crown power percentage will help our economic base. Traditional governance required rulers to negotiate with the states and balance competing powers. Modern theories of government, however, establish the ruler's supreme authority within the realm, above all other institutions, estates and subjects, while bowing to no earthly power. Aragon is happy to give us another 250 ducats, so we'll definitely take that. And we'll use the money to build a couple charcoal kilns. It looks like it's actually the most profitable building for us right now. So we will build it in... We'll build one in Ponte de Sor because there's not enough workforce, but all of these others have constructions in the way. So we'll build one there. Build one in Torres Novas. And one in Figueira da Vos. We'll keep trying to diversify the economy, so we'll get a saltpeter guild in Porto, as well as a dye maker as well. Preload that in. And lastly, I'm a bit concerned again about Castile, so I think I'm going to build a castle here in Sabugal as the province capital, and it's got good terrain for defense. So we'll build a castle there. Sabugal. Rotting wood. Our voyages into strange waters with ill-prepared ships means that there's wood decaying faster than expected. Humidity, rot, termites. There is a price for finding new markets. So we could say fix it where we can. 10% increase to navy maintenance. Or extra damage to the navy. I think we'll take the extra cost. It's annoying, but our navy is the pride of Portugal. Build a couple weaponsmiths in Lisbon. Economically, we are now doing very well. Look, we finally recovered post-Black Plague, and we're doing better than we have historically done, economically speaking. So that's awesome news indeed. Okay, let's take some steps to reduce the cost of paper, and doing so, we'll build one here in Vienna, because it's got a good production efficiency bonus. Let's send a diplomat off to improve opinion with the Malians. I don't know if it's going to be a long-term sustainable thing because their overall happiness is impacted quite heavily by the fact that we're Catholic and they're not. But given that we gave them some weapons, maybe they'll be happy for us to get involved in their market soon. Okay, so our population is still lacking wild game, which is having a knock-on effect to our satisfaction, which in turn is impacting our prosperity. So what we're going to do is we're going to build up our forest villages. We get 0.2 per level, and we're about 0.9 short, so we need 5 levels. We'll do one in Torres Novas, one in Torres Vedras, one in Alcácer do Sal, one in Mora, and one in Avis. Cool, and we've got sovereignty, so we've got an extra bit of crown power now. So let's pick a new tech. Oh, and Elizabeth has died. She fell down a set of stairs. Oh, and we've got a claim throne. Casus Belli on Brandenburg for some reason. I don't think we're going to use it, to be honest. Where even are Brandenburg? Up here. I mean, there's no point us trying to get involved in the north of Europe like that. So research-wise, I've looked through all of the things we have available. I think we're going to go for a university. Start getting some universities out. They're very good buildings for all sorts of different reasons. And then also it allows us to pick a new type of law with respect to our educational policy. So it's quite beneficial. It gives us 2 extra things. A centre of thought and innovation, the university is home to bright minds of scientists and men of letters alike, all eager to promote growth and literacy. All good stuff. And Elizabeth is dead, obviously, so we need to replace her. Maybe with Per Durgel. He's not very good, but we don't really have much else by way of options. Well, we've got a 3rd place in Cape Verde, Santo Antão. Yet again, we'll get a settlement and a market village. Okay, our agent's been discovered in Castile, and we have naval hubris. Our seamanship is so superior that complacency is setting in. People are content to rest on their laurels, but this could make us vulnerable to challenges by would-be upstarts. So the options are to take naval hubris, which increases the rate at which we lose navy tradition, or we could lose 12 stability. That's basically all our stability, so we'll say our navy is the best. It's annoying, but I think it's worth it. Yeah, so it is coming down now, annoyingly. Oh God, King Afonso has been excommunicated, probably because he's a sinner. That's really bad. Oh God, yeah, look how much it's actually messing us up. This is really, really bad. Minus 2.2 prestige, minus legitimacy, terrible papal relations, which is fine. But most importantly, someone can come to war with us because we have an excommunicated ruler. And there it is. Pope Pablo has carved the word anathema onto our nation. King Afonso is officially excommunicated for his sins. Castile has been looking for an excuse to cross the border, and now they have a holy mandate to do so. Will England stick to the alliance now that we are a pariah amongst the Catholic Church, or are we just a heretic nation that's more trouble than we're worth?